What's going on, all you horror movie maniacs or horror series maniacs out there?
Lovers of shit.
Phat Samurai Guy is here with Lady Phatblood, and we are going to talk, and this is a spoiler-filled
An impromptu
video.
spoiler-filled video that we weren't even gonna fucking do.
No.
But somebody was like, oh, I've been hearing that this Dracula BBC on Netflix is a piece of shit. Let's watch it. And me, like the asshole that I am, is like, oh yeah, let's watch it because it sounds like it's trash.
Well, and we have a tradition that's called a 5-minute challenge.
Yeah.
And
true.
we watch,
Yeah.
we click on something like, all right, let's give the 5-minute challenge, and we like if something's interesting about it or bad in a good way.
Or if it's so terrible that we're like, oh, we have to fucking keep watching now. We have to marathon this bitch.
And we have, as soon as we click on Dracula, again, there's spoilers throughout this video.
Yeah, it's fuck it.
As soon as it started, man,
it was so
the
cool.
credits,
Oh, yeah.
the special effects of the castle, I was like, oh, we're in for it.
Cheapest fucking shit you've ever laid eyes on that came out this fucking year.
We're chilling, gonna be, chill with us for a little while.
I have vodka in my beer.
And
just letting you know.
805, Johnny Five's still alive.
Vodka in my beer.
Not sponsored.
Okay, because I need it.
Well, this series will do that to you. It'll drive you to drink.
And what's really fucked up is that we went from many stages passed during watching this.
Yeah.
Like at first it was like, oh sweet Jesus, this looks like utter garbage, and
yes.
then we were like slowly easing into the garbage, and then it's like, oh, this is the fun garbage. This is the garbage that we live for.
Yeah.
And that first episode, basically, it's told in kind of like a flashback. You see Jonathan Harker, and he's talking to these two nuns. And the one nun, she's all no nonsense, and she's lost her faith, and she's this badass, and she's got this quippy, no nonsense nature. And I teetered back and forth with her so often.
Me
One
too.
minute I was fine with her being
I kind of liked her, and then I was like, okay, now you're annoying me now.
And then it's like there's a fine line when you write your characters, especially women. I'm probably gonna get flack for this. I don't give a shit because I'm a woman, so shut the fuck up, okay? When you're writing for women. And I don't know why I see this more for women, right? When you write for women characters. I don't know what it is. It's like when people write for women and they want to make them seem badass, they write them as bitches.
Yeah.
Like they write them as these, it's like, I don't respect somebody when they're treating someone disrespectfully. Like
right.
You don't endear a character to me when they're insulting the other person that they're speaking to, constantly berating the other person that they're speaking to. That does not endear me to the character.
Because with Harker, him telling his story, obviously him being with Dracula, he's now basically dying himself. He's
undead.
He's undead.
He's been this the way they've tweaked the lore. It's one of those where they've taken the basic premise of the old Dracula story, which I'm not 100% familiar with. I only know what I know from various movies that I've seen. Mm-hmm. But they've taken the basics that you've seen in all the movies and whatnot, and they've done their own thing with it, which is fine. Everybody does their own thing with it,
Remake, reboot, all that stuff.
So Harker's already done his thing in the castle, and the nuns are basically making him tell his telling his story of what happened, and so you keep flashing back between the present timeline and the past timeline where he is telling what happened at the castle, and so Dracula shows up, and I was
before we get to that.
Oh.
So like you said, Harker, present time. Harker's undead. He's in the sanctuary of the nunnery.
No.
And the female badass and her,
little side henchman nunette.
Right. Show up and they start asking him questions and stuff like that. And slowly the story is being told through Harker. His experiences, his bad experiences with being in the Dracula house and all that stuff. And then, it's just getting more depressing and more depressing because it's kind of fucked up what he does to him. But then she's still, again going back to your characteristic of her just being kind of insulting. At some point I was like, dude, can you give this guy a break? Like, like, come on, man. He's got a fly flying in his eyeball and going in his head. He has no idea that's even happening because he's dead. Yeah. Undead, So anyway, So then we have, that's kind of how the show was introduced to us. What did you think of Harker's, the guy who played Harker's acting?
He was fine.
He was fine?
He was okay. I mean, they wanted a nice guy, sympathetic, and that's always what I've seen from Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
They've always kind of had, he's this super nice, kind of like sympathetic, innocent at first, and then he kind of ends up becoming like this vampire hunter when he, goes through what he goes through. Because, if you've seen the Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola movie back in the early 90s, that's what ends up becoming of his character.
Yeah.
He goes through everything he goes through. And when he comes out of it, he ends up teaming up with Van Helsing, who ends up getting his other two guys, the Texan.
They go hunt.
Actually, it's the three guys. Yeah. It's Arthur, Jack, and Quincy, and then Jonathan Harker and Van Helsing. They all team up, and then they go hunting for the brides and then Dracula. And they all kind of become vampire hunters in their own way.
Which did not happen in this version, obviously. But now back to where you left off.
So we finally, when we initially meet Dracula, we had this first initial reaction of, oh, sweet Jesus Christ, no. And then he starts speaking. And I'm immediately met with this sense of, oh no, oh wait, oh yes, no, give me more, give me more.
And I didn't notice it at first until she pointed it out.
And all of a sudden I had this sense of, oh, I've got it. It's an SNL sketch with Dan Aykroyd playing Dracula. That's what I was getting. That's the imagery I was getting.
That's how bad.
Like the way he looked.
That's how bad it was.
The accent, the hamminess of the acting, just the
well, he looked like Dan Aykroyd's character from
Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah.
That's what Dracula looks like in this movie.
Initially, when you first see him.
Yeah.
And so he's got the super thick, hammy accent at first, and then you start to slowly realize that Harker's been infected. He doesn't have bite wounds on his neck at this time. He's got like this weird, bizarre scar instead of neck wounds or bite wounds for some reason. But you realize that Dracula is taking his blood or whatever he's doing to him. And every single time Harker sees Dracula at this point on, he starts looking a little bit younger and a little bit younger.
Right.
And his accent starts to get more modern. And when I say more modern, I mean he is starting to talk more and more like today.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
Like not 1800s. I mean like today. Like Johnny, how are you, dear boy? Like that sort of like hammy, corny. And at first I was like, oh no, why are we doing this? But then what ended up happening over the course of the 3 episodes was the guy who played. Well, the whole 3 episodes. The whole 3 episodes was that the guy who played Dracula was literally, whether you're into ham acting or not, well, if you're not going to like this at all. But for me, because I do enjoy when an actor is just like chewing the scenery, like getting fat off of the land of the scenery.
And he kind of maybe in a way he knows he's in shit.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's possible.
When you can get into that sort of thing and you enjoy that sort of acting.
Raul Julia from Street Fighter playing in Bison.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Like he's the reason to watch that movie.
Yeah.
He's the reason we own that movie on Blu-ray. Okay. and so this actor literally became the only reason to keep watching this series.
But at first, all we saw was Dan Aykroyd playing Dracula.
Yeah.
Old man, when he was the old man makeup Dracula, he looked and sounded as if Dan Aykroyd was playing Dracula. And I could not, once you pointed that out, I could not stop fucking laughing.
Yeah. So we're going back and forth. And I think the first episode, I think we both agreed the first episode was the most watchable.
Yes.
Like it was
overall.
It was like it had the best, like it was going kind of traditional. Mm-hmm. You find out that the little nunette that's with the main nun, who you find out is Van Helsing, because of course Van Helsing has to be a woman in this telling of the story, because modern day storytelling, you have to spin everything on its head and make everything subvert expectations and all this shit. But we knew it was going to be Van Helsing. It was obvious that she was going to be Van Helsing. If you have half a brain, you knew it was going to be Van Helsing at this point. So you find out the little nunette that's with the Van Helsing nun was actually Jonathan Harker's fiance the whole time. If you know the story, you know that Mina and Jonathan Harker, they're like fiance, they're betrothed to each other and all that. And they changed the story a lot. There is no Lucy in this particular setting of the story, in this timeline of the story.
Right.
It's just Mina and Jonathan. Van Helsing is a nun, obviously, and the story of this first episode ends in the nunnery. And I did like the way it ended. I liked the little showdown.
You're talking about the first season?
The first episode.
I'm sorry, the first episode.
The first episode where
he was at the nunnery?
Where he showed up with the wolves as a wolf.
Yeah.
And there was that little kind of showdown between him and Van Helsing. I did like that.
Yeah. It became interesting.
It was interesting with,
And she was like, show yourself, stop this nonsense.
Yeah,
show yourself.
Then
he transforms.
I liked him basically punking her out and saying, all these nuns here, it's going to take just one of them. One of them is gonna need to invite me in, and that's all it's gonna take, and I'm gonna destroy all of you guys.
Right.
And eventually he does. And there was a really fun scene.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Which, if we'd had more of that.
But before the fun scene.
Yeah.
So back to the hammy acting. Okay, so either again you're on board at this point after this hammy acting, or you're just like blip.
Yeah, which I could
because
totally
Dracula,
understand.
the Prince of Darkness, the evil incarnate, Dracula. All right, the Lord of Darkness, whatever the fuck, okay, says this when he sees all the nuns, and he transforms from being a wolf back to vampire form, a human form. He does this. Hey, ladies! So, it's up to you. We were laughing. We were like, "Oh my God, is this actually happening right now?" So we could not stop watching after that. We were like, "Oh my God, we have to keep watching this train wreck."
Yeah.
But then we did actually have a brilliant and funny scene. It actually did happen. Go ahead and talk about that one. When Harker invites him in, because
Harker at this point, it's back to you've gone back and forth between the flashback and the modern storytelling, and as of the point where Mina reveals herself, it stays. Not modern as in today, but modern as in the present of the narrative. So it stays at that point. There's no more flashbacks because the story's caught up with itself. So once Mina reveals herself and realizes what happened to Jonathan, and Jonathan's undone, yada, 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 and the nuns have gone downstairs to confront Dracula and all that, and Dracula's trapped outside because we're going back to that old storytelling device with Dracula that you have to invite him in, otherwise he can't come in.
Right.
We're back to the whole thing where he can't go into the sunlight, he can't look at crucifixes, but he doesn't know why. All these things, he doesn't know why, and they keep making a point to explain, or to hammer into the audience that he doesn't know why all of these things are set in stone and why he has to abide by all these rules, but he just does. And that'll come into play later. So Harker's upstairs, and he's with Mina, and Mina gets a little cut somewhere, and he sees her blood, and he starts to go vampire on her, to which he tries to stab himself in the chest. He thinks he kills himself. She thinks he kills himself, but he does not. For some reason, Dracula can't go inside the convent and the premises, but he has no problem scaling up the building, touching the building, scaling himself up the building, and poking himself into the window and saying, "Hey, Harker, yeah, you want to make a deal? If you let me in, I'll kill you. I'll kill you for realsies this time."
Which Harker does.
Which he does.
Yeah.
And so there's like this little miniature fake out and all that.
And then we get the brilliant scene that was actually hilarious.
So you find out that
one of the positives.
So he's in there, and so the nuns are all inside praying.
Yeah.
And
they all bust out the crosses.
At this point, the Van Helsing character, she's already established herself to have lost her faith, and she's been searching the world looking for God. She's never found him. But at this point, she's kind of reaffirmed her faith, because if the devil exists, then God must exist. Right. And so there's this head nun giving a sermon trying to give the nuns their courage and all of that, and Van Helsing's in the congregation yes, we're gonna be okay, and yes, we're gonna fight this, and we're gonna be okay. And then all of a sudden, they're setting up the Samuel L. Jackson from Deep Blue Sea shot, and they didn't really disappoint us.
No.
And all of a sudden,
during her speech,
what
was it, the sister or whatever, the head nun. Yeah. The head nun is giving her speech.
Who is the head nun? Who becomes the head nun? The headless nun. So you do a quick pan up, and all of a sudden, it's the headless nun.
Yeah.
And Dracula's sitting up there with her head.
The body's still there, and then there's no head, there's blood squirting out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the camera pans over to Dracula, and he has his hair head, and then he's like a bouquet at the wedding. He turns around, he's like, catch! And all the nuns are freaking out. It was like
Yeah.
legitimately hilarious and entertaining.
It was fucking funny.
Yeah.
And so again, this is where it borderlines for what are you looking for in your horror. Okay.
But we can't even say that now because everything gets fucking ruined later.
Yeah, so it's like at this point we are completely in on the joke. We don't know if it's supposed to be a joke or not. We see a sense of humor in this.
Yeah.
So as far as we're concerned, as long as the show keeps this absurdity going,
Right.
I'm totally willing to go along with it.
And in a way, this will kind of be like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
right?
like if you want to be trash, be fun trash.
Yes.
And that's what this was doing for a while there. It's like if you want to be cheap, which this looked cheap. Mm-hmm. If you want to be not that funny, but trying to kind of have a sense of humor about it, have your actors be hammy.
Right.
Check. Okay, no problem. You know, if you want to kind of be sleazy and have a, you know, blood and gore and all that, no boobs or tits or anything like that, like no TNA and a little bit of sex, but
it's
not
unfortunate.
Really. I mean, you might as well. It's BBC. You might as well. You can get away with that shit on BBC. I thought maybe it wasn't aired late at night or whatever, but you know, there's a little bit of teeny tiny bit of sex, but not really. It's like G-rated practically. But aside from that, you know, if you're gonna not be like totally serious, then yeah, go the way this first episode was going, which I was like, okay, but I could see a lot of people just dismissing this outright as total dumpster fire garbage, which I'm like, this is my total dumpster fire garbage though. Like I'm like totally on board
At the time.
And so the first episode ends with a cliffhanger. Right. So he gets invited in, he's in, he corners Mina and Van Helsing, and it ends.
Right.
And the next episode, all of a sudden, we're in what looks like this kind of like subterranean set with a big chessboard in the middle of it. Van Helsing's there with her hair out, but she's still in her habit. And her and Dracula are having this normal conversation,
and playing chess.
And they start to play chess.
And we were all like, did we miss a scene?
And then they flash back to the Demeter, where, if you remember the story, that's where Dracula makes his way from Transylvania to England. Between you know, when he's going from actual Transylvania to England to start the meat of the story where he meets Mina and, you know, all his shenanigans.
So just remind them real quick, Harker's profession. Why Harker was even at the Dracula house.
Well, Harker worked for a firm where he was supposed to go to Dracula's pad, have him sign all these legal documents so that he could buy this property in England.
Right.
And I think in this version he was like a lawyer kind of. But he was just supposed to sign all these documents and be like a representative for the firm. Yeah. And then supposed to be it.
And that happens, except Dracula never let him leave.
Yeah, and obviously in this version, in the other versions, Harker didn't become undead, and he, you know, got out. He wasn't unscathed. He got aged. He got fucked up. He got drunk from and all that, but he didn't get turned into a vampire. He didn't, you know, become any of the undead or anything
just
like that.
Just a quick, in case.
But in this version, he died. He's dead. He's completely dead. And you never see Mina again. You see her in a brief flashback later on, but you never see her again in this version. She never comes into play again. So, again, so now we're on the Demeter, going back and forth between him being on the Demeter, meeting all these randos, and him having this conversation while playing chess with Van Helsing. And we're like, what the fuck did we miss? Yeah. It's like, we even went back to the very beginning of the episode to make sure Netflix didn't skip an intro or something, or make sure Netflix didn't skip an outro for the end of the last episode. And we're like, okay, let's just go with it, because they have to explain it, because everybody has to be as confused as we are.
They do.
And eventually they do, and it's like, okay.
What I did like about, you know, the very few positives on the show with the second episode was... you actually did get to know some of the characters. You actually did spend time with some of them.
Yeah.
And I did like the fact, because even in the Bram Stoker's one, and a lot of I think in Nosferatu even, I think he, Dracula pretty much stayed in the coffin the whole ride over there. And then he came out later, killed the whole crew, and then the ship ended up getting to shore.
Yeah, like they just briefly mentioned the Demeter incident in the Francis Ford Coppola movie. Like they just mentioned, a tragedy befell the Demeter, and like almost nobody survived.
Right.
And basically you just hint that he slaughtered the crew.
Right.
But in this one, we actually have some really fun moments.
Yeah, I like the fact that he was just out and about.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time.
Dracula brings the fog around
Really
with
bad
the ship.
CGI fog, but it's
with
TV.
the ship, so
Yeah.
that way he can do his thing and walk around a little bit and be amongst everyone. I thought that was a little bit more interesting.
Wow, octane! Holy
Let me have a
shit!
sip.
Have fun.
Vodka and in beer. Is that what
it's
that
ale,
means?
but yeah,
Ale?
strawberry ale and
It's ale.
it's strawberry ale and lime vodka.
Whoa.
So at least you get to see him. You spend a lot of time with Dracula in this. He's out and about
Not bad.
with the crew and the people on the ship. You get this really dumb subplot of this gay couple. One of them's catty. The other one's married this rich chick to inherit her money. That literally goes just about nowhere.
Yeah.
But they made a point to make it a thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
It would have been cool if it went somewhere. But
It was literally just.
they're dead. All right,
yeah,
next.
It was just like, okay.
Even him showing interest in the wife. Dracula showing interest in the wife.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, okay, maybe this might be his new bride.
Yeah, it went nowhere.
And they did no. I feel like killing her now.
There was kind of that fun scene where he was talking with the old lady, and then he goes and kills the crewmen up top so that he could learn the language.
That was hilarious.
Blood is lives, as they keep saying in this version of the show, where you drink somebody's blood and you retain things from them, so you can retain memories. In this case, you can retain their language. So this guy up top, he speaks Bavarian. The lady down below, she speaks Bavarian. Dracula doesn't speak Bavarian. Kills the dude up top so he can converse with the old lady down
runs
below.
back down.
And all of a sudden he speaks perfect Bavarian.
That was funny.
And so that was actually entertaining, but then he just kills the old lady. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just like,
they have this other subplot where this guy...
why even well, here's the thing though. Why even go out of your way to introduce that him and the old lady had a past?
That I don't...
And then kill her.
I'm not really positive.
It went nowhere.
It was kind of like, well, that's interesting, but you're not really going to go anywhere. Did he care for her? Because it implied that he killed his mom, or he killed her mom.
Yeah, but
when
it's
she was a
just
kid.
maybe
It's like,
I thought maybe he wanted her.
okay.
Maybe he wanted her money. I don't know.
I don't know.
It was just.
We do know that he. We do
You're
know
dead
that
now.
he. We do know that he was like a partner. He brought all of them together.
Yeah.
So we know that he inherited a lot of the money.
Right.
Maybe that was why he was killing everybody.
It's possible.
I don't know.
But don't. It's possible, but don't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't bring up pointless flashback stories.
Everything seemed a bit convoluted for the sake of just let's tell a story about people on the Demeter because we've never really seen what happened on the Demeter.
Yeah.
So we just made up a bunch of stuff,
And
it was just mildly.
It did have that mystery vibe to it.
Yeah,
What do you call that?
What?
Those type of movies and stories. Whodunits.
Oh, okay.
It did become one of those whodunits.
They kept alluding to this thing in cabin 9. There was a sickly passenger in cabin 9 that the captain knew about, but everybody was forbidden from going into cabin 9, and then later you find out that that's a big thing. There's just, and at this point we're like, okay, well now we're just watching because we're curious, and we're seeing Dracula a lot more. So this one wasn't the hot garbage dumpster fire that the first episode was, but it was at least, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you find out that by the end of the first episode, in one of the worst lines of the show, which I'll leave it to you to say.
No, you say it.
Oh, God.
I forgot it already.
Because it's disgusting. And no human should ever utter it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
it's
you guys...
not sexy.
And
it's
if you
not
guys
sexy.
ever get this far in the video, you're going to torment it with me in the comments section. So Van Helsing makes a deal with Dracula. Let me go because we all know that because I'm the main star, I'm more interesting. And if you drink my blood, you're going to get more out of me than if you kill Mina.
Yeah.
So let Mina go. You can have me. And you're going to... You can have me.
I'm just holding their glass for you.
You can have me, and
You're
gonna get more out of it. So he lets Mina go. Mina runs off.
Go ahead.
And so Van Helsing pulls down her little habit and whatnot, and she tells Dracula, "Come, boy, suckle." And we have to hear it twice.
Yeah.
Because you hear it initially and then you hear it later on in a flashback.
You could be the most beautiful, hottest chick ever.
And the word suckle is not.
That person says it to that person or whatever. Whatever. it's just.
The word suckle.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's disgusting.
It's so bad.
So fuck off. Mark Gatiss.
Come by.
Mark Gatiss.
Suckle.
And Stephen Moffat, you can fuck right off with the word suckle.
Stephen Moffat
y'all
rant.
can suckle each other.
Stephen Moffat rant real quick.
Stephen Moffat was involved with Doctor Who for a while. Mark Gatiss has done a couple episodes. Mark Gatiss actually was more involved with Sherlock.
Right.
A bit. He was actually in Sherlock also.
Right.
My theory is that...
At the time, you preferred Moffat over...
Russell T Davies.
Right. At the time.
But after a while...
For Doctor Who.
Yes, but after a while, I thought maybe Moffat was there for a little too long. And I didn't like where the show went. And I stopped watching. I stopped watching Doctor Who after... I want to say... I was really sad because I loved Peter Capaldi. But I hated Clara. I hated fucking Clara.
That's another video.
I wanted
for Doctor
Clara to
Who.
go away. And
but anyway, the point you want to make was Moffat's writing got crappy.
I just thought that he stuck around too long,
Yeah.
and the writing, the show suffered for it, and apparently it's just gotten worse since he
Yeah,
left.
so apparently
it
you're
doesn't
not missing
matter.
out on
I haven't
anything.
missed out since the show,
Right.
has become what it's become.
So-
but my theory is that Moffat and Gatiss have not forgiven the world for turning on them for what they did to Sherlock season 4. Because a lot of people don't like what they did to Sherlock season 4, myself included. I get what they tried to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I think that they created this in spite, just to spite people. That's my theory.
So where are we now? We're still on
We're on
episode
Suckle. We're on fucking Suckle.
Suckle.
Okay? Come, boy, Suckle. Suckle. Jesus Christ. So you find out that he actually has made her undead.
Right.
He's been drinking off of her this whole time, and he can create this dream state for people.
Alucard.
He can create this dream state for people when he's feeding off of them, and so this whole thing with them being in the
Playing chess
has all been in her head. She's actually been the thing in cabin 9 this whole time, and he makes it to where he makes the crew think that she's been the one committing all these crimes, because obviously people start to realize that people are going missing, and so he makes everybody think that the 120-pound half-dead nun was the one killing all of the people, and that falls off the rails really quickly.
Yeah.
The whole ending was really stupid because at least most of the crew were like, how could she kill anybody? She's like half dead. Are you fucking high? And they're like, oh, but look at her.
Another thing that was annoying to me was the captain of the ship. They really go out of their way to show that they've had a past in history, the captain of the ship and Van Helsing. And we're just like, how do they fucking know each other? Now that's something that needed a quick flashback.
It wasn't even that. I don't even think they were trying to do that.
I mean, he hugged her, and she's like, I'm a nun, and he didn't care.
Oh, and fuck
I
you.
mean,
Fuck you with your, I'm the nun Van Helsing captain. You're relieved of command from your own fucking ship. Fuck you. Fuck you. And you're fucking, I'm a strong character, so I'm going to take over the command of the ship.
I was going to ask you about that.
Are you fucking insane? A captain of his own goddamn ship? Oh, well, if the nun says so, I guess she's in command now. Fuck you! Are you fucking stupid? Do you think we're fucking stupid? Do you think we're gonna be okay with that? What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ!
What?
Oh my god!
It's original, innovative.
It's fucking idiotic.
Fresh writing.
And the more you write hack bullshit like that,
Yeah.
People have been throwing the word agenda out lately. There you go. And the more you throw bullshit writing out like that to feed your agenda, the more you're going to turn people away from what you apparently, whatever the fuck your goal was with writing that, you failed.
Yeah.
You failed.
It was just...
And I consider myself somewhat reasonable.
But
you failed.
But then again, back to what I was trying to say.
More alcohol.
No, I don't think you do. Again, if they showed a flashback of them having a backstory and they knew each other for many years, then maybe
I don't think
he
that's what
always trusted her to take control of things. Then maybe it wouldn't have been as bad as, hey, you're the captain of the ship, fuck off, I'm in charge now.
I don't even think that's what they were going for. That's not even what they were going for. They were just going for the fact that he was a fucking pussy. He was a pushover. He saw this strong lady that waltzed onto the ship and knew what she was doing and knew what she was talking about. Oh, well, then I guess I better listen to her because women know what they're doing.
Yeah, but what about him kicking people out of the fucking room, though?
What? Not letting people in there in
Yeah.
the first place? Well, because he was told not to let... He was under strict orders. He was paid paid by what you found out was Dracula.
Right.
Don't let anybody in the room.
Right.
But he was the only one that was allowed in there, so he knew she was in there the whole time. I'm
just still confused of how they know each other and react.
They didn't really know each other.
I mean, they embraced. They like spoke to each other as if they knew each other for years.
It's called bad writing.
Okay.
That's all it was.
Anything else before?
Well, so season 2 episode 2 kind of tapered off, and again, it was not as fun as the first dumpster trash fire of episode 1. Where
it had its moments.
It had its moments. There were some time. Again, we're watching strictly for Dracula at this point, the actor playing Dracula.
One quick thing before you wrap up the ending of episode 2. In the beginning of episode 2, we have a scene where I forgot the name of the young lad.
That was pointless too. That was so stupid. Why were we focusing on him?
I forgot the name, but you have
stealing the identity of
the
this
young
guy.
boy who looks like he was a sweeper.
Yeah.
He didn't have he swept up in this kind of like hotel, and kind of like janitor type of job. And he's just like his dream. He's looking out the window, and his dream was always to be on a ship and sail the seas of high adventure.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, and takes the identity.
Some sailor kid dies.
Right. We're going to get to that.
Becomes undead.
But I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But he
steals his identity and then jumps aboard
that's how he ends on the Demeter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're following his adventures during the episode. Uh-huh. But my question is, the one young man that was in the bed that he stole his identity from, and the mother's all crying and all that. There was a priest in there. There's a priest in there, and he's like, "Oh, we gotta." He does the rites and all that, and then he gives the mother a steak or something, and she comes over there and fucking hammers the steak and to finish her son off. I'm sorry, I could have sworn up to this point, Dracula, vampires, and all that was, people consider that hogwash. That was considered, myth. It wasn't like, but yet this priest knew exactly what to do. Yeah. It was just kind of strange how they introduced that.
Yeah.
When Dracula is supposed to be your special entity character that you're following.
Yeah. We had the
but
pointless...
yet they're introducing the fact that, maybe other people do know that vampires exist.
Yeah.
It seemed out of nowhere. It just was, I was confused.
Yeah, we had the...
That's like, you have a werewolf movie. No one believes in werewolves, right? Oh, I seen a werewolf. Oh, you're on drugs or whatever, right? Then the werewolf shows up, kills everyone, right?
Yeah.
But imagine that same type of movie, but then you show other people dealing with werewolves.
You see other people passing out silver bullets.
Right.
Shit like
it
that.
was very strange.
Yeah.
It was just weird. I just thought I'd mention that.
So the episode ends with Sister pseudo badass has a plan to blow up the ship, but the captain stays behind. Is like, I'm gonna go down with the ship. I'm gonna make my death good and pointless, because it's my job to go down with the ship, even though you're already dying. You're gonna blow up the ship, but I'm gonna go down with it anyway.
Suckle.
So he gets fucked up. She distracts Dracula, and so the captain ends up blowing up the ship anyway. Van Helsing presumably dies in the ocean, we assume, because you never see her as that again. Dracula ends at the bottom of the ocean in his coffin, because he's got one coffin left with his earth in it, his dirt.
He got set on fire earlier and made his way back in the ship.
Yeah, you see him emerge. He's like crossing the bottom of the ocean very slowly, and then he exits the water, and then it ends with helicopters and modern day cars surrounding him, and that's how the episode ends.
Right.
And we're like, yay, we're going to modern day.
Yay, modern day.
Time to completely and officially bury this whole project.
Yay. So the first episode was like cringe, but then beautiful hot garbage that we enjoy. Second episode, definitely some fun moments here and there, but it did feel kind of pointless.
Yeah.
But not, we wanted to kill ourselves.
Right.
Third episode, completely like destroyed.
This is where everything completely like where it felt like an utter
really
disastrous chore to finish the whole show, complete with modern day everything, modern day characters. Here we finally get our Quincy, our Dr. Jack character. We have a reborn Van Helsing character who is now her great grandniece on her father's side. Looks played by the same actress and all that. We have our new Lucy, who is this spoiled party popular girl who at one point the writers thought it would be really clever to try to make us sympathize with her. The pretty hot popular girl. They wanted us Uggo normals to sympathize with the pretty popular bitch. Because, it's so hard for me. Because when you're pretty, everybody smiles at you. Everybody gives you whatever you want. And that's just how the world is when you're pretty.
And I just want to take me to a place where there's no one around and I can be alone and I don't have to smile. Dracula.
Oh,
Dracula.
I'm so sorry, Miss Pretty Popular Girl.
Dracula? Show about Dracula?
Give them the Emmy.
Suckle.
Right now.
Suckle.
Oh, I feel so sorry for the hot chick.
That's ridiculously popular.
Who gets everything she fucking wants in life. I feel so fucking sorry for her, writers. You're so right. I'm so sorry. I take back everything I said. You deserve my sympathy, hot bitch.
Suckle.
I'm so sorry.
Suckle.
So anyway, that was a thing, and we're supposed to feel sorry for
Dracula.
her. Anyway, so you have all this modern shit that goes on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything funny aside from Dracula. Like Dracula did some fun stuff.
Well, him being so happy with like the technology advancing so fast.
Yes.
With the helicopter flying around, and he like points at a car. He's like, "Does that fly too?"
Yeah.
And then he was instantly amazing at pistols for some reason that he never used before.
He was like crying and watching the sun on the
That
television.
was funny. Yeah.
That was some fun
He finally
stuff.
gets to see the sunset, but on television.
Yeah.
He thought some normal apartment that he was in was like the greatest thing ever because of the technology.
Yeah. So there was again at this point you're strictly watching it for Dracula, but everything else was just like unwatchable. You had all the young actors in this one. They were all,
all annoying.
Early 20-somethings that were just like, you had Jack pining after Lucy as you do. You had spoiled Lucy marrying the no fucks given Quincy. There's no Arthur in this one, whom she married in the original story. The Texan with the big gun. She, they popped the question in a trashy nightclub and just like whatever.
Yeah. We don't care.
No, none of this.
We're here for Dracula.
Yeah.
And whatever.
There's this subplot where okay. So this at this point we had a bet, not a bet, but we had this like back and forth when it came to the whole crucifix thing, because they set up that Dracula does not know why. He has this theory. The first theory he had
this is so bad.
about not knowing why that he couldn't look at crucifixes. We were thinking back and forth to ourselves, okay, it's either going to be really bad or it's going to be really great, awfully bad.
Yeah,
meaning
hilarious.
It's going to be like, oh, this is the best, worst excuse ever, or it's going to be like utter trash and we're going to fucking hate it. So the first excuse that they came up with was utter trash and we fucking hated it. So the first excuse that they came up with was his theory, which was the church had been drilling poor people with religion for so long that the cross, the crucifix symbol, had been instilled in them as a symbol of fear. And he had been drinking their blood, which meant that fear was in their blood. And that's why he could no longer look at the crucifix. Which we were just like, why? That ended up being bullshit. The problem was that the actual reason was not much better. It was pseudo babble bullshit. And so anyway, so at this point, let's see, he meets up with Lucy in a nightclub in a matter of 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. She's become his bitch. Mm-hmm. And you've got the pining Jack going, trying to save her or whatever, but it's, not working out, whatever.
And Jack's a part of...
Oh, so Van Helsing works for this organization, the John Harker organization, which Mina, when she escaped, said she inherited all this money from her father, and she set up the John Harker organization that is basically made to fight potential threats like this. Now, they kind of have this possible underlying notion that maybe they're funded by blood money. You don't really know, because Dracula specifically states, I know terrorists, I know mercenaries, not terrorists, I know mercenaries when I see them. What does that mean? You don't really know. There's kind of like this underlying guilt of what the organization has come to stand for, but it doesn't really go anywhere that I remember. But anyway, so Van Helsing in this version, she has cancer. You find this out because Dracula goes to drink her blood and he spits it out, and because that blood is poisonous, and so anybody who has any type of illness is considered death to a vampire. So he can't drink her blood in this version. But at one point they do capture Dracula, and he gives her a vial of his blood, which of course contains the blood of old Van Helsing. So he escapes. So now new Van Helsing has quit the organization, but she still has the vial. So she drinks the vial of Dracula's blood, but it doesn't make her undead, but she ends up getting the memories of old Van Helsing. So now she's merging with old Van Helsing, and she's going back and forth between being new Van Helsing and old Van Helsing, and by the end of the show, she practically is old Van Helsing when she meets up with Dracula.
She has the accent.
She has the accent. She is literally just old Van Helsing at this point. Okay, so Dracula is hanging out with Lucy. She's slowly dying. She's like, they're hanging out in this graveyard. This little thriller minion is like eyeballing her, and he's like, don't make eye contact, don't talk to it, because it's gonna follow you home, which it does. But then he stakes it through the heart, and it's like, what the fuck was the point of that? And then he's like telling her, she's like, are you going to be buried here one day? And she's like, no, I'm going to be cremated. He's like, don't let them burn you, because you're going to be dead, but your body's still going to be in there.
How is she not going to let them burn her?
Your mind is still going to be in your body, and you're going to feel it. And so lo and behold, she dies. And right when they're putting her into the crematorium, she pops back to life and she dies. I mean, she's like burning alive and all that, but she escapes the crematorium. She doesn't turn into ash. She's like a half crispified corpse now, but she still sees herself as beautiful. And that just keeps going.
Dracula.
For no reason.
Dracula.
And she gets with Jack, and there's the big showdown at the end with Dracula and Van Helsing and Lucy. And all that. Yeah. And Jack
puts her out of her misery.
Which is pointless.
Van Helsing goes, I got something important I need to talk to Dracula about.
She's like, Jack, get the fuck out. I'm the main character. Nobody gives a shit about you. Yeah. It's all about me, because I'm the strong, independent woman, and I don't need no fucking man. Get the fuck out of here. You're cramping my style.
So he leaves. And then, there's
this big dramatic shot of her running across the table and pulling down the curtains, all dramatic in slow motion.
The reason why they did that was that happened in Hammer Horror's Dracula film.
It was a big fake out to make you think that she was going to burn him to a crisp, because, aha, I've won.
Yeah.
Big reveal. The sun doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
It was all a myth that he believed.
Hold on. So, in the classic Hammer Horror Dracula film, Peter Cushing runs across the table and leaps off, grabs the curtains, and reveals the sunlight, which burns up Christopher Lee. So she does that. But I was already halfway through the series.
Bastardizing a classic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Themselves
so
look clever.
They can go fuck themselves for doing that. It was not.
They can go suckle themselves.
They can go suckle. So I was pretty much done with the show halfway through this third episode. I was just like, well,
We've come this far. We have to finish it.
We were like, we had some moments, but this is horrible now.
Yeah.
Like they fucked it all up, and a lot of it was we're taking everything seriously now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he was still
Dracula
fun.
didn't have that many funny moments.
Not as many as but he was still fun to at least to watch, just to be there. But it was still just not what it was.
This was when I was already done with the show, but this was when I really, the big reveal at the end, the climax of the show, was when I really, threw up the middle fingers, and I was just like, whose lame ass fucking idea was to write this ending? Like who? I mean, we know who. But I can't fathom someone getting a piece of paper and writing this down and going, oh, brilliant. What do you think of it? Brilliant?
Brilliant!
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 Yeah, so I can't understand. Okay, so you want to change things, you want to reboot things, you can do that.
Yeah, people do it all the time.
And with good writing and character development, different takes on things can work. It can work. But in this case, this was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And it's pretty much right up there with Carl from Terminator Dark Fate giving Sarah Connor the coordinates to go kill the other Terminators for John to give her purpose. It's that dumb. It's just as dumb as that. And what you find out is she goes, I figured out what you really fear. I figured it out, Dracula. I know what you really fear. So I'm like, okay.
Let's hear it.
Let's see where this goes.
Let's hear it.
Your brothers, your father, your grandfather
your sons
have all been badass warriors and have been,
died on the field.
Died in battle as badass warriors, and everyone loved and respected them. But you're a coward, Dracula. Take that, man. You're a coward. Dracula.
Slinking away in the shadows.
Right? She goes, you're a coward. And so, obviously, he's one of the children of the night. So he's immortal, he lives forever. But she's saying in his mind that he's such a coward that he's so afraid of dying that he, over the years and times and centuries or whatever the fuck, he has believed the myths and has it, are you still with me? Has it mentally in his head that he believes that sunlight will kill him, when in fact, it will not.
And that's why he's afraid of the crucifixes.
That is the dumbest fucking shit I have ever heard. One of the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard for this particular character and setting. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So Dracula, Lord of Darkness, Prince of Darkness, badass, okay? Oh, I'm so scared of dying. Oh, I'm scared of dying. Oh, everyone says I'm scared of the sunlight, so I must be.
Yeah.
I'm scared of crosses. Oh.
Yeah. And
that is one of the worst
and
things
so now,
I've ever heard.
So now the monster that is Dracula knows that it's all been in his head.
Right. So why does she bother telling him that? Don't you want to kill Dracula? Don't you want to finish the evil? Why are you telling him that, it's just in your head, you can be in sunlight?
Yeah.
Why are you telling him
this?
this?
At this point, he knows that he is truly immortal.
Right.
At this point. And you were thinking, oh, well, dumbass, why'd you tell him all this?
Right.
Well, nay.
Right.
Because she's apparently on death's door.
Right.
She's been getting treated for the cancer, nothing's working. But she's about to die, apparently.
This is so fucking
Apparently
stupid.
she's about to die right now. Right fucking now as we speak. And because her blood is poison to him, he decides to end it all by drinking her blood
He
and killing them both.
He decides to suckle.
So he kills them both.
And that's how Dracula dies.
That's how they both die. In a dream where they're fucking each other. They're suckling each other. That's how they die.
Yeah!
How clever we are.
Oh my god, it's so bad. For 1 second, before you wrap it up, for 1 second, I was like, okay, I just heard the dumbest thing I've ever heard for Dracula character. Story?
Dumber than the knot fetish.
However, right?
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
now that he knows he can be in the sun, let's see where this goes now. So I'm thinking to myself, this is still stupid as fuck, but now will season 2 have Dracula walking around the sun fucking people up? That might be interesting. I don't know. But no. Dracula wants to not be a coward anymore and not be a bitch. So I'm gonna prove I'm a warrior like my relatives.
He loves her.
Whatever.
He loves Van Helsing, bitch. He loves the strong, independent lady bitch that put that man in his place.
Yeah, so he suckles, he dies, they both fucking die. The end! Hope you enjoyed your fucking Dracula Netflix series!
Yeah, so it went from being a lot of fun watching just the absolute trash to damn. We were like, oh, this could be so great. Like, this could be like rewatchable awfulness, like Gods of Egypt awful.
Yeah.
And then it just, so yeah, unfortunately, I can't even recommend it.
Is there a season 2?
I can't imagine there would be. That's the thing with British TV. British TV.
They can come up with some bullshit and bring it back.
They can, but they do one and dones too. They do that a lot.
That's true.
So, look at Dark Place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Dark Place, but unfortunately, it could have been the best guilty pleasure of 2020.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it got too far up its own ass. It tried to be too clever.
Yeah.
It got way too modern.
Yes.
It just got too up its own ass. So, I can't even recommend it for so bad it's good.
No, I can't.
Unfortunately, maybe the first episode.
It's because that third episode.
I mean, maybe some people could find something out of it.
The first episode, yeah, maybe. Dan
Aykroyd SNL sketch, absolutely. But yeah, but we had to kind of rant about it because damn, it was fun for a while. But shit,
yeah, it
went down.
Yeah,
it went downhill. So.
What would you rate this if we were gonna rate it?
Oh, out of 5?
Are we rating it? Yeah.
Woof. Woof out of woof.
3.
Woof out of suckle.
3. Remember, 3 on our channel is average. 3 out of 5 is average. How many suckles do you give it?
1.9.
Yeah.
1.9 suckle out of 5 woofs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm the same.
It was because again,
1.9 suckles.
Like that if it had stayed at episode 1 level,
it could have been a 3.
It could have been like just because it was like so awful. But yeah, unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
And if it had stayed in old days, modern day, I don't know what it is about modern day. Modern day just kind of fucking, I don't like it. I just don't like it. But anyway, it's done. It's over. It's only 3 episodes if you want to check it out. It's about 1 hour and 20 each episode.
If you want to waste your life.
It's up to you. I mean, you're going to see, I have a feeling you might see a lot more episodes about it on YouTube. I don't know. This might fly by the radar. Like, nobody might be talking about it. A lot of people might be talking about it. I have no idea.
Well, let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of Dracula, the series, on the Netflix.
I'm starting to go cross-eyed.
It's fun! But yeah, we thank all you badasses for watching. And you guys fucking rock.
Don't suckle.
And we see you guys next time.
Don't suckle, for the love of God. Don't suckle.
Suckle!
Don't suckle.
Perfect!